New headlines in the US about this bombshell new court battle taking place next month. Just got a whole load worse for Meghan Markle because her sister Samantha ain't going anywhere. $75,000 lawsuit after the 44-year-old told Winfrey that she grew up as an only child during her and Prince Harry's bombshell March 2020.
Meghan thought she had buried her sister's voice. Now Samantha is dragging her into court with receipts.
Is gearing up for yet another legal bout with her half-sister Samantha Markle, the Post can confirm. The Duchess of Sussex emerged victorious in early 2023.
It began as a whisper, a tiny rumor hardly worth a second glance in the tabloids. Now it has erupted into a full-blown legal earthquake, and Meghan Markle is squarely in the middle of it. The Duchess of Sussex, after years of carefully crafting her public image, suddenly faces a challenger she never expected. Her half-sister, Samantha Markle.
If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is.
The first time Samantha Markle took Meghan to court, most people assumed it was over before it even began. Judges quickly dismissed the defamation claim, ruling that Meghan's statements were opinions and not legally actionable. Case closed, or so it seemed.
However, documents obtained by the Post show that the hearing will now take place on September the 9th in Jacksonville, Florida.
For Samantha's legal team, the dismissal wasn't a defeat, it was a roadmap. Every flaw, every loophole, every misstep in the original filing became the blueprint for a comeback. Now, Samantha is striking back, smarter, sharper, and far more strategic than anyone imagined.
Prior to her 2023 filing, Sam had previously filed her libel lawsuit against Meghan in late 2022, 2 years after the Sussexes quit royal life.
This time, the appeal isn't about hurt feelings or emotional storytelling, it's about intent. Samantha's lawyers argue that Meghan didn't simply speak her truth. She carefully crafted it, fully aware of the damage it could inflict on her half-sister's reputation. It's a legal pivot so brutal that it turns a family dispute into a courtroom chess match.
Markle has been left livid that Sam just won't go away.
The argument is simple but powerful. Meghan's words weren't accidental. They weren't impulsive, they were deliberate. By shifting the focus to intent, Samantha's team is forcing the court to examine not just what was said, but why it was said.
Well, things were said about me that weren't true. And, even though it's not defamation item by item, all things taken together.
But why it was said. For Meghan, this is a nightmare scenario. Her defense of "I'm just sharing my story" suddenly feels fragile if the court accepts Samantha's framing. Every carefully produced interview, every Netflix episode, every emotional plea could be scrutinized as a calculated attack.
He had executive control.
The game changed the moment Meghan's Netflix series hit screens worldwide. Unlike a quick, emotional interview, this wasn't a spontaneous confession, it was a polished, 6-episode production, carefully edited and fine-tuned over months. And Samantha Markle's legal team is calling it what it is, a weaponized narrative.
It hurt it was a character assassination. And damaging to me in a lot of ways. And so I don't, it's not like she came out and publicly said things.
Every scene, every musical cue, every dramatic pause is now under scrutiny. Samantha's lawyers argue that the documentary wasn't simply Meghan sharing her story, it was a calculated effort to shape public perception, casting Samantha in the role of the villain.
Publicly say things. As a royal and with her PR. And
what made the series devastating to Samantha wasn't the content alone. It was the global reach. Translated into dozens of languages and streamed into over 200 million homes. The series amplified the alleged damage exponentially.
For her. And in my opinion, that doesn't make her any less culpable. So there was a lot of damage done to me. It was fake news.
Insiders say the legal argument is clear. This wasn't a casual recounting of events. It was a campaign, a meticulously crafted storyline designed to cast Meghan as the victim and Samantha as the antagonist. And because it was produced over months, the team argues, Meghan had ample time to reconsider, revise, or retract, but she didn't.
People have said to me, Samantha, well, how is it fake news about you?
What began as a family argument has now escalated into a legal nightmare with international consequences. If the court sides with Samantha, the Netflix series could be seen as more than entertainment. It could become evidence of deliberate harm.
I don't have the power to pay a PR house and television shows and magazines to put out articles about her. I don't have the power to.
For Meghan, the implications are staggering. Her media mastery, which once earned admiration, could now be used against her. Every frame, every scene, Every carefully crafted emotional moment might be proof that her storytelling wasn't just emotional. It was intentional, and Samantha Markle is ready to make the world see it.
To combat the articles that are false that are put out there about me and about my dad. She does. And so there's no one on this planet.
Samantha Markle isn't relying on rumors or emotional appeals. Her legal team has spent months assembling what insiders describe as a mountain of evidence, one that could seriously threaten Meghan Markle's defense.
Articles that go out about family aren't directed by her or approved by her.
We're talking emails, text messages, internal communications, production notes and recordings suggesting that Meghan and her team may have planned how certain family members would be portrayed. Every screenshot, every timestamp, every draft of the Netflix script could be used to argue this wasn't just storytelling. It was deliberate character assassination.
That's the difference. So, small towns in Poland, remember that fake article that said Samantha's on a fixated persons list?
Legal experts warn this is where the case becomes dangerous for Meghan. Until now, she could rely on the argument that she was simply sharing her truth. But if Samantha's team proves premeditation, protected opinion could transform into actionable defamation. That would mean every carefully edited scene, every heartfelt confession could be scrutinized as part of a calculated effort to damage her half-sister's reputation.
Persons list? I got proof from Scotland Yard and Met Police that never existed.
Sources close to the case reveal that the team is also compiling records from public appearances, social media posts, and PR campaigns. Their goal is to demonstrate a consistent pattern that Meghan knew exactly how her words would land, and that she used her global platform to maximize the damage.
And there's an article out there that said that was at the behest of her protection officer, who allegedly went to Roy Anika and put that fake article out.
For Meghan, this is more than an inconvenience, it's a potential legal minefield. What once seemed like media savvy could now be interpreted as weaponized influence.
Mental health counselor. So if everyone in the world is making me look like Patricia Hearst, wouldn't that be injurious not only to my professional but my personal life?
And with Samantha Markle holding what could be explosive evidence, the Duchess may be facing her toughest courtroom challenge yet. A story that once seemed under control is now teetering on the edge of a full-blown legal disaster.
Small towns in Poland, I saw people around the world saying, even Fox News erroneously said, Meghan Markle's sister has landed herself on a fixated persons list. Nobody did their homework. Nobody contacted Scotland.
This case isn't just about words on a screen or sound bites in an interview. According to Samantha Markle's legal team, Meghan's public comments ignited something far more sinister, a wave of harassment that turned Samantha's life upside down.
In their computer, there's not a fixated persons list. You're not even there. This is not true. And I did a live interview.
The moment Meghan's interviews and Netflix series aired, Samantha allegedly became the target of vicious online attacks. Not just a handful of trolls, but hundreds of death threats, relentless stalking, and coordinated smear campaigns that made her daily life unbearable.
Daily Mail TV. But why is it that nobody in the world printed that to exonerate me? Because it doesn't get the quarter-hour share ratings. It's not.
Sources close to the case claim it went beyond digital hate. There were incidents of doxing, strangers showing up near her home, and constant intimidation that forced her to live in fear. Her lawyers are drawing a straight line between Meghan's statements and the harassment that followed, calling it influencer harassment. The idea is simple. When someone with Meghan's massive reach paints another person in a negative light, an army of loyal fans takes it as a call to action. Samantha's team argues that Meghan knew this would happen.
Everyone around the world thought I was on a fixated persons list. Not true.
By portraying her half-sister as toxic or unstable, she essentially opened the door for her fan base to unleash chaos.
Go back to 2018 and sue, and by the time I figured out what was going on, I had almost...
If the court accepts this framing, it could set a precedent that shakes the foundations of celebrity culture. Stars would no longer be able to hide behind the excuse of just sharing my truth if their narratives cause real-world harm. For Meghan, that's a terrifying prospect, because suddenly, this isn't just about Samantha's reputation. It's about accountability in the age of social media.
Go back to 2018 and sue, and by the time I figured out what was going on...
Samantha Markle's lawsuit isn't just about reputational harm, it cuts much deeper. Her legal team argues that Meghan's public comments didn't merely tarnish her name. They left scars no camera could capture, emotional trauma and lasting psychological damage. To them, that's not just defamation, it's devastating defamation.
World who prints that, and they didn't all say allegedly or reportedly. A lot of them just said it verbatim. Samantha Markle is on a fixated persons list. It's not true, and it was at the direction.
According to court insiders, Samantha's lawyers have assembled a team of mental health professionals who are prepared to testify. These are not vague claims of hurt feelings. They are documented diagnoses. The conditions include PTSD, severe anxiety, and ongoing depression, which Samantha allegedly developed as a direct result of Meghan's televised narrative.
Defamation. That's not part of my suit, but that is part of the big picture. And I shouldn't have had to go through that.
Absolutely not. Sam, has she ever tried to make amends? Has she ever tried?
The evidence reportedly includes therapy transcripts, psychiatric evaluations, and medical prescriptions, concrete proof that this was not just a passing upset, but a full-blown mental health crisis that altered the course of her life.
Lawsuit by, for example, offering to settle with you and publicly apologize.
No, and it's...
And Meghan's team cannot simply brush this off. If a judge identifies a clear timeline linking Meghan's interviews and Netflix appearances to Samantha's psychological collapse, it strengthens the argument that Meghan's storytelling was not harmless, it was destructive.
7 years of my life, all of these things taken together.
What makes this even more damaging is the contrast. Meghan has built her brand on compassion, kindness, and being a voice for the voiceless. Yet Samantha's attorneys plan to turn that image on its head, arguing that behind Meghan's polished advocacy lies a woman who weaponized her fame against someone with no platform to fight back.
Life, because people believe this stuff. If I went to the doctor's office, people would look.
If the jury accepts this argument, Meghan will not just appear to be a sister with a grudge, she will look like a bully. And that is the kind of label no duchess can escape.
Because they had read all of these horrible articles in bold font headlines.
Here's where things get really messy. The lawsuit is no longer just a battle of words, it's entering the brutal stage of discovery. And that means one thing. Meghan Markle's private world could be cracked wide open.
They would think, well, if it wasn't true, why did Fox News say it? Because they didn't know then about aggregate news and fake news. Thank God.
Discovery is the legal process in which both sides exchange evidence, documents, emails, texts, everything. And Samantha's lawyers are reportedly eager, practically salivating at the chance to dig into Meghan's digital closet.
Cumulatively, especially in the United States. But I never thought I would find myself in the crosshairs of that.
Imagine the court demanding Meghan's WhatsApp chats, old emails, and even drafts of speeches or Netflix scripts. If she rehearsed her estranged sister narrative with advisors, that evidence could surface.
And give everybody cease and desist letters rendered me a victim. So I was totally powerless.
And let's not forget Meghan's carefully curated image. For years, she has maintained a tight grip on her public brand, feminist, humanitarian, and victim of royal cruelty. But what happens if discovery reveals something different? What if Samantha's team uncovers private messages showing strategy, mockery, or worse, a deliberate plan to erase her family?
The point, she wanted to destroy you because, of course, you were one of the only people who truly knew about her.
Hollywood sources are whispering that Meghan's biggest fear isn't losing the lawsuit, it's losing control of her story. One leaked email or text could undo years of PR work in seconds.
As to why the royal family needed to be warned, and anyone can look back now and say, well, actually.
On the flip side, Samantha isn't immune either. Discovery cuts both ways, and Meghan's attorneys will comb through Samantha's records, looking for anything that could weaken her claims.
Saying at the time was very moderate because what has happened has come true times a million.
Right.
Times a million.
Right.
I mean, you weren't saying, look, she's going to try and.
Meghan Markle's legal team is scrambling, and their playbook is starting to look shaky. The Duchess's defense so far has been that Samantha's claims are exaggerated and irrelevant, and that Meghan's comments fall under free speech. But critics argue that this strategy may not survive the courtroom spotlight.
You'd experienced it. Your family had experienced it.
Well, William allegedly said the same thing, but it's not like all of these articles.
For starters, Meghan has leaned heavily on the claim that Samantha was already estranged and that their relationship was fractured long before she spoke publicly. But Samantha's lawyers are poking holes in that narrative. They have uncovered family photos, phone records, and even holiday cards that suggest Meghan wasn't quite as distant as she portrayed herself to be.
Said Samantha's bashing her sister. I wasn't bashing her just because I was out there defending our father. I was out there saying, pointing out which articles were not true.
Meghan's defense has been accused of being too Hollywood polished. Instead of focusing on hard legal arguments, it has leaned heavily on image management. Rumors suggest her lawyers are more concerned with how Meghan appears to the public than with the actual strength of her case. That approach might work on Netflix, but in a Florida courtroom, not so much.
Scholarships. She didn't work for the embassy. I was pointing out the lies, and I've never been out there slinging mud like some trolls in social media.
Court insiders say Meghan's team is fighting tooth and nail to limit what evidence is admitted. They want to keep discovery narrow, seal Meghan's emails, and avoid putting her under oath. Why? Because a deposition could be devastating. Meghan thrives in controlled interviews, but under cross-examination, that's a very different story.
True. About her personal life, I stuck to scope. I was out there defending the truth. I was out there pointing out what were lies about our family.
The bigger issue is that the more Meghan's defense tries to suppress evidence, the guiltier she appears. In a lawsuit built on truth and lies, that is the worst position to be in. So the stakes could not be higher. This is no longer just a family feud. It is a battle that could reshape Meghan Markle's entire future.
And silence someone is to assassinate their character and throw dirt on them. So anytime they talk, people won't believe them. I think that was the goal. That's exactly what happened to me.
If Samantha wins, Meghan could face millions in damages, along with the humiliation of being branded a liar in open court. Imagine the headlines: Duchess exposed in defamation case by estranged sister.
There's got to be a rebuilding of my reputation online, but I can't go back. I can't even have...
That would sting far worse than any royal snub. And let's be real, once a public figure is labeled dishonest, it's nearly impossible to bounce back. This lawsuit isn't just about two sisters at war, it's about Meghan Markle's credibility, her career, and the legacy she is desperate to protect. One wrong move in court, and everything could come crashing down.